Okay, I get this question all the time from people. They ask us, what type of clients do we work with? Who do we typically work with? And I tell them, we work with real estate investors, typically wholesalers. And the number one question that I get is, what is a wholesaler? What is wholesale real estate investing? So in this video, I just want to walk through what wholesaling is, and then some of the, basically 7 ways that you can wholesale property if you're new to real estate investing. So essentially, wholesaling real estate is when a real estate investor or a real estate wholesaler puts a distressed property under contract with the intent to assign the contract to another buyer. So you'll see a lot of wholesale real estate, people in wholesale real estate investors will say, hey, I'm buying properties. In actuality, they're not actually buying the properties. They're getting the contract to buy the property at a negotiated price with seller. They then turn around and then do what's called dispositioning, where they then will go and find a buyer for this property at that price point. The wholesaler typically doesn't plan on fixing up or selling the property. Instead, they're just marketing the property to potential buyers, typically fix and flip investors, buy and hold investors, or people that want a property in a distressed situation. It doesn't always have to be in a distressed situation. You can find wholesale opportunities where, the places are completely remodeled and there's creative ways to get into property. But typically, they're taking these contracts, selling them for a higher price than the property, than the price that they negotiated for, and then they make that spread. So let's say you find a house and you get it under contract for $90,000, then you turn around and sell it for $100,000. You keep that $10,000 spread, and that's negotiated, with the buyer. Once it closes escrow, goes to the title company will then send you a check for the difference. So what are some ways that as a wholesale real estate investor, where you're looking to get, distressed properties, people in distressed situations that want a cash offer, want to sell their house quickly, what are some ways that you can find these types of people? And then what are what are the steps? So what are the processes involved? So number one, you want to find a distressed property. So we do this for our clients a couple of different ways. We typically run Facebook advertising, we'll run pay-per-click advertising. We do a lot of SMS and ringless voicemail campaigns, where we will go out and procure a list from our company, National Data Source, and then we use a company called Slingshot SMS to send out text messages to these homeowners in distressed situations, whether it's tax liens, they're absentee landlords that live in other states, or they're just landlords that live in state that have multiple properties. Maybe they just want to get rid of properties out of their portfolio. People that recently had water shutoffs, tax liens, foreclosures, any of those types of situations where essentially we're looking to get a property at a discount. So, normal people would try to, sell the house for as much as they can. In a distressed situation, they just want to get out of the house. Either they can't afford it, they're in a situation like a divorce or something like that, or it's part of a trust and they just want to sell the house without any hassles or any troubles. So those are the people that we're typically looking for. And these methods that we use, Facebook advertising or SMS and RVM campaigns, have been some of the most successful in terms of the cost to acquire the leads and the actual, going from a lead to a deal. And some of the top level investors are actually doing these strategies right now. You hear of other things like driving for dollars, posting bandit sites, cold calling. I typically recommend for a real estate investor or wholesaler that wants to actually do this as a business to get out of that day-to-day hustle, not actually making the cold calls or dropping off the mail packages. I actually want you as a business owner to run that as a system. So that's the first piece. So there's tons of different groups of, where you can connect and find out more about this. But essentially the next thing that you need to do is once you find a distressed buyer, you want to try and get it under contract. So this is where you'll have your seller appointment, where you'll get on the phone with the person that's selling the property, figure out, what are the actual specs of the house. So square footage, bedrooms, things like that. What things need to be done to the property. Major things like roof, AC units, water heaters, those types of things. You want to confirm those because that gives you everything you need to be able to negotiate the price. If you don't figure out what condition the property is in, the seller's just going to ask for as much as they can, which is normal. You want to negotiate this with them, which is why you want to have this appointment, and it's important to do this over the phone. And then from there, you want to you negotiate the price, you get it under contract to get it in signing, and then typically you have about 30 days, depending on how you do your contracts, where you can go then and sell this contract to a buyer that wants it. So you want to find someone that either specializes in dispositions like Keegley or whatever state you're in. So you want to disposition the property. So you want to find an end buyer for it. So there's a couple of different ways you can market it. You can market it just like a realtor would. So you can run ads, you can post on Facebook Marketplace, you can send out flyers, you can call up people. You basically just want to find a buyer that wants to buy something as is and knows that they need to fix it up. And I can't stress enough that you need to be as transparent as possible during this process. So letting the end buyer know the actual condition, the square footage, if there is tax liens or things like that on the property, it's important for the buyer to know that, because your reputation is ultimately going to be, your word in this market. So if you're selling people properties and you're not disclosing all the info, people aren't going to want to buy properties from you. So in a nutshell, that's wholesale real estate. That's wholesale real estate investing. Those are ways that you can find motivated sellers. You learned a little bit more about the appointment contract or the appointment to try and get the contract. And then we talked a little bit about dispositions. Those are really the key three things. Most people confuse wholesale real estate with fix and flips, buy and holds, the things that you see on HGTV. Wholesale real estate is none of those things. Really what you're doing is finding the best deals and sending them to people that are doing those types of things, where they're rehabbing or fix and flipping the placing or doing Airbnb rentals. As a wholesaler, you're finding those opportunities and you're making your money off of the arbitrage from what you negotiated the price of and then what you ultimately sold it for. It's the easiest way to get into real estate investing with very low money. You need some money for marketing, obviously, but you can do this for $0. You can get in and start connecting with realtors. You can get in and start connecting with people that are already in the space and JV on deals. It's okay to collaborate in this space. And what we see is most people try to do it on their own and hold it all tight. But you want to be able to collaborate, because that's how you can probably get your first deal, by telling people actually what you're doing. I'm a wholesale real estate investor, and I'm looking for properties that are in distressed situations where people want a cash offer. And in some cases, you don't even need to disclose that you're a wholesale real estate investor, because most people don't know what that is. And if you're watching this video, you're probably curious on what that actually is. So you can just say, I'm a real estate investor. I'm looking to buy homes, basically buy a home with a cash offer, people that want to sell their house quick. It's that simple, and it's that easy.